presented. The first speaker I have on the list is Zis Weisberg. Welcome.
Chairman Lehman, board members, superintendent. My name is Zis Weisberg. I live on Kimbrough Avenue in Grant. After closely following the controversial decision to close Withrow, Marine, and Oak Park elementary schools, I was interested to read Board Member O'Laughlin defend her vote on her Facebook page on October 24, 2017. Her comments generated a lot of questions. Jay Axelrod asked, can you articulate the impact of the school closures on the 17-18 budget? At the end of the day, how much money will be saved? This is how Ms. O'Laughlin responded. Thanks for the question, Jay. To briefly summarize, much of the $1.2 million in actualized savings was invested at the secondary education level as we shifted to a middle school model. This meant additional support for our middle schoolers and more programming to support a true middle school model. As we welcome ninth graders to the high school, we needed budget for more counselors and staff, as well as help relicense some of our teachers to teach in a middle school, high school model. For our elementary schools, we've increased support services, minimizing the existing service gaps. Ms. O'Laughlin was vice chairman of the school board when she wrote this. She was certainly knowledgeable about what the board approved. District residents should find these comments offensive for two very different reasons. First, if her comments are true, this board has committed a fraud against this community. The decision to close 3 elementary schools was promoted on an equity-based argument. Administrators said closing Withrow, Marine, and Oak Park would save $1.2 million in annual operating revenue. This savings would be primarily reinvested in the remaining elementary schools to provide more equitable programming and student support services like ELL and student advocates. Administrators repeatedly said the smaller schools were advantaged by smaller classes, unused capacity, and higher spending per student. They also said access to ancillary support services was unequal. Reinvesting this $1.2 million was recommended as a necessary reallocation of scarce taxpayer resources to the primary education level. Some community members raised concerns that the $1.2 million was really needed to pay for a budgeting error that underestimated middle school transition costs. The administration adamantly denied this accusation. Parents from the remaining elementary schools were promised the $1.2 million would provide more equity for their children. In fact, the district's attorney argued this exact point at the Court of Appeals, stating it was necessary and practical to close 3 schools for the equity reasons stated above. If Director O'Loughlin's comments are true, then virtually all of the $1.2 million savings was budgeted to the secondary education level. Implementing a true middle school model is an almost $1 million investment. Funding more counselors, staff, training, and licensure at the high schools would exceed any remaining dollars. The math doesn't lie. Ms. O'Loughlin's comments tell a disturbing story. The district promised equity to our community, even testified in court that equity justified the closures of 3 schools, then spent the money on something else. Remember the slide showing the 3 different sized elementary students standing on boxes. According to Ms. O'Loughlin's explanation, those boxes were given to the bigger kids. There's another reason we should all find her comments offensive. They just aren't true. A year ago, December, both middle school principals gave an excellent presentation on a true middle school model in preparation for this school year. This progressive model would increase to a 7 to 8 period day, provide an enhanced curriculum, and invest in additional staff. This model would lengthen the school day and change the bus schedule. After talking to one of the middle school principals, he confirmed the board never voted to fund, invest, or approve this true middle school model. At the June board meeting, Ms. Hoheisel presented the 2017-18 projected budget. She was asked where the $1.2 million savings from closing 3 schools could be found. She was unable to account for those savings. How do you invest money you don't have? Now, I understand the Paula from Minnesota Facebook page is not an official district communication site, but as a current school board member, Director O'Laughlin represents the district when she communicates publicly about district matters. She wasn't giving her opinion. She deliberately misrepresented how the board allocated our tax dollars. Board policy requires honesty in such communications that protects the integrity and positive image of the district. Board Governing Policy 3.5.6 and 7. Director O'Loughlin's comments are a flagrant violation of this policy. I have several questions for the board. Can any member of the board or administration confirm that this board never voted to invest in a true middle school model? How's the board going to respond to Director O'Loughlin's false comments on her Facebook page? This board has deemed other Facebook comments objectionable. In fact, Facebook comments were used in part to justify an investigation into board members Potachik and Stivland. Is this board going to eliminate the appearance of political backstabbing by enforcing their own policies against Ms. O'Loughlin as they did towards others? Is this board going to ask her to take down those false public comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.